Okay. We're going to talk about this new bill that was signed into law, and it will go into effect for 2027-2028 school year in Illinois. Now, Illinois has not had the best track record regarding school and the function of the school at all. Okay. So, and we know that they have been considering putting in, I'm just going to see where that is. The Illinois, they want to impose restrictions on homeschoolers. So they want to require homeschool families, like the parent who will homeschool, and you have to like register with the state, and they want to require homeschool or anybody who's a teacher to have a college degree. Now, you don't need to have a college degree to teach, but they have to keep so that they appear to be qualified, so that they appear to qualify themselves, right? In fact, in the state of New Jersey now, you don't have to pass a basic performance test to become a teacher in New Jersey. So you don't have to know how to read or write or do math in order to become a teacher. And frankly, because teaching really is just behavior management, classroom management, that actually kind of makes sense to me. Like, I'm okay with that, because the thing is, you don't have to actually know that much to teach a subject. I know that sounds really weird, but the answers are all in the textbook, folks. So even if you go in not knowing, as long as you have the ability to read the textbook and sort of figure things out on the fly, you can teach it. All right, but I want to talk about this. Right, so there is a lot of opposition to the bill for the homeschoolers in Illinois, but apparently this one got past all the people who were complaining about that bill. And I'm not really sure how it did, but he just signed, Governor Pritzker just signed this into law. They will be doing mental health screenings on all the children in school, grades 3 through 12. Now, what could possibly go wrong? Well, who's doing the screenings? That's what I titled this, like, screening, mental health screening by who? Who's doing the screening? So this is requiring annual, by the way, they're annual mental health screenings for public school students. It is drawing a backlash from parents, policy experts, also lawmakers, because Republicans aren't really on board with this, who warn that the policy may overstep boundaries and wrongly label children. Do you think may overstep boundaries? I got to tell you, when your school system is riddled with pedophiles, do you think maybe some of those pedophiles are going to misdiagnose children? Maybe. It's not that they have a great track record for identifying issues with children anyway, but now they're going to actually do these so-called screenings. So he signed the measure at the end of last month. Illinois is the first state in the country to mandate mental health screenings, students in grades 3 through 12. It's set to take effect not 25-26, not 26-27, but in 27-28. And it's directing schools to provide self-conducted screenings each year using digital or paper forms. This is data collection at its finest. We just want to know what you're thinking. We just want to know if you have ever fantasized about certain things. We just want to know. And by the way, how are they going to do this? Parents will have the ability to opt their children out, apparently. But see, that whole opt-out thing. Yes, Jen, so glad I homeschool my kids. Kath, that's how they get their little claws in with these little things. The parents will have their ability to opt their children out. It shouldn't be an opt-out. It should be an opt-in. This is so-called value added. This should be opt-in. But no, you have to draw attention to yourself. You have to be the one that says, I don't want my child screened. Why not? Maybe we should be paying closer attention to your child. Are you really going to opt your child out? Do you really want to opt your child out? Because that might not go well so well for you. This is my problem with the opt-outs. I mean, sure, you should have the ability to opt out of anything, but what they do is, this is their sort of workaround. Oh, you can opt out. That's not what they mean. You see what I'm saying? They're putting the onus on you to have the quote aberrant behavior of opting your child out. Everyone else is doing it. What's the problem? And that's, yes, absolutely. They target you when you want to opt out. That's correct. I love the fact that, yeah, they'll keep moving the goalposts until they have the full control they want. I'm sorry, I just have to catch up on these because I love these comments. Okay. Supporters say the initiative will help schools identify early signs of depression, anxiety, or trauma. You know, I can help with that. Every child in school is depressed and traumatized. There, I did it for you. And they're all anxious too, which, by the way, anxiety is the strongest inhibitor to learning. Like, you can't come up with a better one. I suppose a bonk on the head would qualify. I'll tell you, you know, I was a really good student, but I couldn't take tests because of the anxiety. It just shut my brain down. But it took me years to figure out that, oh my gosh, the whole system is geared against the students. So unless you like really thrive in that sort of environment, no, it's not going to go well for you. Abigail Schreier went on the record. I'm reading this from a Fox News article, by the way. And Abigail Schreier went on the record, which I love, because she's the one who wrote the first book about the transgender phenomena that was running rampant through girl circles. And she says, I want to be on the record and crystal clear. This is a disastrous policy that will do vastly more harm than good. She actually put this up on X. Watch as tens of thousands of Illinois kids get shoved into the mental health funnel and convinced they are sick, many or most of which will be false positives. So by that, she means that they're going to falsely diagnose children with perceived mental health issues. And then that will be a label that will follow the child for the rest of his or her life. This is just absurd. Jen is asking how much money is tied to having mental health professionals in schools. Well, they haven't said that they're going to have mental health professionals. They said that they're doing basically testing, so it's self-reporting, which is also highly suspect. And by the way, what are the questions that are going to be on those exams? Like, I don't trust any of this. I don't know if any of you listen to Tucker Carlson, but he just had this gal on. Oh, what's her name now? Delano. Her last name is Delano. And she was diagnosed at the age of, I believe, 14 with bipolar. And then they put her on drugs and she spiraled completely out of control. And she did not only the drugs that they prescribed. At one point, I think she said she was on 5 mental drugs, so antidepressants, that kind of thing. And mood stabilizers and all of that. So at one point she was on all those drugs, but she was also drinking and doing other drugs, like, because she was suicidal for years. And her story is, and what her book is about, is basically quitting. She didn't realize that she quit so-called cold turkey, because she quit slowly, but it wasn't slowly enough, because these drugs do something to you and they change you profoundly. She even said that they can have sexual, they inhibit sexuality. And when you go off them, you may never regain sexual function, and they don't warn you when they put you on these drugs. And she was 14 when hers is a cautionary tale, because she was labeled as, this is your mental illness. This is what you have. There's nothing you can do about it. And then when the drugs failed to treat her effectively, They said, well, it's become drug resistant. Now you have a drug resistant mental illness. So it's never they're not getting it right. It's all on you, baby. It's all your fault. That is what she describes as the offset, the default in the mental health industry, right? And it's not a mental health industry, just like it's not a healthcare industry. It's a sick care industry. It's a mental unhealth industry. Oh yeah, she says that she listened right after Chris Plant's phenomenal. I agree. Okay, so Abigail Schreier went on the record. Catherine Boyle is a partner at the venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz. She also raised concerns about government overreach in what she called the mental health industrial complex. So I'm not the only one seeing this too, and neither is Delano, the woman who, by the way, went off all of her drugs. It took her 3 years to like fully detox, fully like embrace, and I'll share with you her message because her message is quite beautiful. Life is not without suffering. Embrace the suffering because you have a purpose. And so if I don't want to get emotional here, but all of the children that we're talking about who go to school are being taught that they have no purpose, that they're a series of accidents of nature, evolution, that they exist purely by accident, and that there's no real rhyme or reason for their existence except that they should earn money so that they can become goods consumers in the marketplace. That is the message that we're sending all of our children that we send to school. And unfortunately, that is a disastrous message, especially for young people. Now, many of us go through the system and we hear the message, but we don't really hear the message. We just, we have families, we have siblings, we have friends, we're going about our lives, and we just sort of live our lives, and we don't realize that this debilitating message is hitting on us every day. We absorb it, but we don't realize that we're absorbing it. And so the idea is now with these mental health screenings, maybe they can identify your problem when you're unhappy. By the way, what teen is not like unhappy? Like teens are struggling. It's a very difficult time of life. To be a teenager is a very difficult time of life. Your body starts changing, your hormones are going wacko, you've got mood swing, like, damn it. So of course, so anyway, let's just finish this up. If a school nurse or state mandated mental health test tells you you're sick, you're going to believe them. This is Boyle again. That's why so many families are opting out of primary school completely. The overreach is astounding. I totally agree with her. And I'm so happy to see many families opting out and more, which is why the state of Illinois is trying to put in these regulations on homeschoolers. Because they get school so right in the state of Illinois. I think they have a 0% of competent readers in Chicago public schools. I think their competency is at like 0%. And even if it's at, even if they have 30% proficiency doesn't mean what proficiency used to mean. So that's not competency, most likely. Illinois officials, education officials say the screenings will not be diagnostic. And they're designed to just flag students who may benefit from further evaluation. Do you know what? I saw your test. You seem a little sad. Why don't you come to my office and let's delve into that a little bit, said the pedophile to the young boy. The Illinois State Board of Education will develop the screening tools. Oh, good. So they're not going to go to some sort of mental health facility to develop screening tools. They'll do it themselves. They say they'll have them by September of 26, so a year from now. School districts will be responsible for implementing them. So arguably, if you were the superintendent of a school district, you could say, I don't think we will. State Superintendent Tony Sanders said this: mental health is essential to academic readiness and lifelong success. Well, I'm glad we've established that. Too often we only recognize a student's distress when it becomes a crisis. Well, that's true. Although actually that's not true, because so many people pegged the different school shooters like before they shot up the school. It's actually quite ludicrous. In many cases, not all cases, I'm just saying. Too often we only recognize, okay, with universal screening, we shift from reaction to prevention. I doubt that highly. I have yet to see the proof. I'm just saying, say whatever they want, and they don't have to prove it because nobody asked them to prove it, because we aren't taught discernment anymore. Dana Weiner, Chief Officer of the Governor's Children's Behavioral Health Transformation Initiative, whatever that is, said the screenings will be optional for families and conducted privately. I thought they were voluntary for the children. State Senator Laura Fine, who's a Democrat, she sponsored the bill. She led the bill. Said the effort aims to normalize mental health care for children. There it is. I knew we would find it. They want to normalize this. They want to normalize talking to your child about intimate details of your child's life and emotional wellness. They want to normalize that so that your child is not afraid to talk to them about anything, so that your child is ripe for the picking, so to speak. And if you don't know that I'm talking about pedophilia, I'm talking about pedophilia because it is run normalized. Anyway, okay. The screenings will be designed to catch the anxiety, depression, or trauma before it becomes a crisis, or in some cases, sometimes too late. Would have been really good if they had that kind of screening, those kinds of screenings going on during COVID, when children were getting suicidal and the school boards targeted the parents who were speaking up for their children. That would have been really good. But the problem is that they don't care about the children. And nothing you can say will convince me that they do. This is just a ruse to get inside these little children's brains so that you can do whatever you want with them. It's sick and perverted. And how dare you? There, I said it. Oh, Jen said normalize, they are evil. Yes, that's true. Republican lawmakers in the state have also voiced opposition. Steve Reich, who's a Republican, warned the law could have unintended consequences for families dealing with insurance companies. Okay, thank you, Steve. But honestly, could you be more wussy about your objection? Oh, it might cause problems with the insurance companies. Okay, that's a technicality. I guess we'll have to give you like a pass on that, but seriously. Trevor Till committed suicide in Illinois, college student during isolation on campus during COVID. Exactly. Nobody gave a flip about him, right? But worse than that, these places are now targeting parents. So here's the problem. We have a culture in our schools today. This is my work with Parents Demanding Justice Alliance, which if you want more information, go to samstorbo.com. My work with them has revealed that there are so many of these parents who spoke out to try to get some sympathy, some empathy for their kids who were suicidal, who didn't want to wear the masks, who shouldn't have been forced to wear the masks, etc. Right? And instead, what we have, and it continues to today, was during that time we developed under Garland what's the word I'm looking for? A tenor, a tone in an environment in our schools where the school boards disdain the parents to the point of being punitive against them. So one of our parents was, he spoke at a school board meeting, and one of the school board members just decided, I like what he said. So he called the authorities and he said, do not allow this man on school property, just because I'm a tyrant and I just decided that I don't like what he said. And so they didn't allow him on school property. He went to pick up his son and he was arrested for trespassing or detained or ticketed or whatever it was. And so what I'm saying is this pervades still. And now Illinois is going to implement this other thing within the confines of the hostility that the schools have for the parents. It's a very dangerous combination. And the only thing that I can say to you is separate the parents from the child. The child is a much easier target for pedophilia. Prove me wrong. You can't, because I'm right. Okay. Okay, we have the comment about, it's great. Universal mental health screenings are going to get us nothing except possibly finding reasons for denial of coverage of insurance, which is why every parent should simply mark on their calendars the day that they opt out. And every parent, this is my encouragement to you people in Illinois, all you parents, on day one of the school year, send in your opt-out form, flood opt-outs, so they don't think they can get away with this. Okay. Niemerg, who is a Republican, called the law a very dangerous piece of legislation that removes parental rights. Thank you. And that's where the story on Fox News ends. And that's where it should have begun. But that's okay, because they got it in there. This is an assault on parental. It continues. It continues every day. Do not think, and God bless Trump, but do not think that we got rid of DEI. He's smoking something if he thinks that we got rid of DEI. He did an executive order. God bless him. That's probably the limit of his power there. But the executive order will not have done the trick. There needs to be punitive actions in place for any teacher who is documented teaching DEI. Then you might have something with teeth in it. All they do is rename it. That's correct. That's correct. His mother is suing. I hope she wins. Yes, so do I. In fact, by the way, a quick update. I just heard that Peanut, the squirrel, daddy, may win like $10 million because they killed the squirrel, which is really astonishing considering that we practice abortion as a mental health issue in this country. I'm just not to conflate two issues, but I don't see them as two issues. Look, I'm all for Peanut. I'm also for babies. So I can't believe this. I can't believe it. So Illinois, you get the doofus of the year award. I don't know what to say. This is just, oh, we're going to screen the kids for mental health. Do you know what? Prove to me that you have some mental health first, which of course this proves that you don't. And maybe we can talk. It's so absurd. I can't wait to see the questionnaire. But you know what? They won't make it available because it'll all be online. And your parents will not be able to see it. So you won't even know what you're opting out of or inadvertently opting in for because they won't show it to you. Forgive me, I'm so jaded now. They want to brainwash kids. Yes. Have them snitch on their own parents. Yes, exactly. Parents, you got to stand up. But okay, I'm just going to take a moment before I go because this has gone on too long, and encourage you. You can homeschool your child. I just got off the phone with somebody he has a 6-year-old little boy, and he's like, oh, I don't think I can homeschool him. I said, you bring him to work with you every day. The guy's a tradesman, and he takes his boy with him during the summer. Because the little boy is well behaved, and he can take him with him. You take him with you to work? He said, yeah, but I wouldn't be able to keep up with the coursework. I said, what coursework? There's no coursework. He said, don't I have to do like that the school does? I said, no. In fact, I would recommend that you didn't do what the school recommends because they're idiots. Like they seriously have no traction anymore. They don't get the job done. So why you would do anything that sort of copies them is concerning, actually. Come on, let's call it what it is. And so he thought about it, and I talked to him a little bit more. And by the way, he was a really good student, and he hated school, and he didn't understand it. He doesn't use it, basically. Doesn't use it today, which is like a question that I ask on my podcast is, what was your education background, and do you actually use it today? And most people don't, not really. Some of them use parts of it. They're like, well, And what I've realized is it's a very difficult question to ask somebody because they feel like they have to justify having spent all that money on college. And so their offset, their default is, well, yes, I do. But when you drill down, not really, you know. I mean, for me, it's easier. I studied biomedical engineering. I don't use that. Full stop. I do not use my education. But anyway, so he did a little bit more research. I sent him, he called me back. I said, listen, your little boy shouldn't be made to sit still at a desk until he's like 8. And even then, like, not entirely, but at 6, don't make him sit down and do work unless he really wants to. If he wants to, then you find the stuff. So, but he called me back. He's like, look, we can't just not do anything. My wife's going to go crazy. She's very organized. She's very, she's type A, whatever. And so, so I sent him my favorite curricula for this little boy, what I thought would be good. And public colleges push communism. That's true. Public school teachers only need a 2.5 GPA. This is true. Okay. Why have promiscuous sex if you don't have a child? Over 400,000 unborn babies are murdered by them. Well, that's true too. You can't have sick people and determine mental health. This is my point. Like, who's going to be doing the screening? AI? Maybe AI. That would be great. The AI says that I'm mentally unfit. Okay, sorry. Ridiculous. So, wait, where was I? So I sent him some curricula that I really like, that's good for young kids. It's not too heavy. I said, 15 minutes a day, like, don't overdo it. Okay. And then the next text, he goes, hey, what do I do for a diploma? Like, how does he get a diploma, get into college? So let me just say to you guys so that you understand this. It's a house of cards that they've built, that the educators have built to appear big and imposing, but it's a house of cards. It's gone. Big gust of wind and it's gone. And they know that it's crumbling. That's why they're passing mental health laws for the schools. Well, how are the children going to be screened for mental health if you keep them home? Maybe you should do mental health screenings at home. Maybe the homeschooling parents should have a degree in mental health. Right? This is where it's going. He goes, what about the diploma? I go, yeah, so you download a diploma from online and then you fill in the name and then you hand it to your child. Congratulations, you just graduated high school. And by the way, the colleges never asked to see the diploma. They ask what your grades were. They want a transcript. That's a whole different thing. You can do that. It's literally like a spreadsheet. You fill it in. No big whoop. If your child eventually decides to go to college. If. Colleges are going by the wayside now. Everybody's finally starting to realize that they're not what they paid themselves to be. And eventually this will trickle down to grade school, I imagine. That we will finally realize that the schools are not what they pretended to be. And the only reason that they ever succeeded was because they taught morality. Because they imparted a moral compass for children. And also families did that as well. All right, we're going to leave it there. Good luck to the great state of Illinois. Not so great, not as great as it was before they signed this bill into law. Pritzker is, not my favorite governor. You guys should write, if you're living in Illinois, you should write about this. Maybe I'll have, I know somebody who's working hard in Illinois. Maybe I'll have her on another live soon. So thank you all for tuning in. Please share on the various platforms. Please go subscribe to my YouTube. That helps me out a lot. And like and comment. That's always helpful. I'm really bad at the self-promotion. So anything you can do to help me out is very much appreciated. Love you guys. you next time. Remember, speak truth, speak it boldly. All right. See you then.